Greetings, fellow programmers. This is Pavel, and this is part 3 of our Type-in Tutor application. So today we'll continue with the coding, but first let's recap what we have. When I start the program, we have a form with some keyboard. When I press start, a sentence appears, which is a panagram because it uses all the letters in the alphabet, and when we type, you can see that as I press the keys, they have been highlighted on the keyboard. When I press a key that is not on this keyboard, I get an invalid key press, and when I press enter, the next sentence appears and the next one. Alright, so that's what we have now, and today I'm going to do to display a little statistics about how the user is doing, how is his typing, whether he's matching the sentence that is displayed or if he's making mistakes. Alright, so what should we do or how to approach it? Well, we basically will be comparing what the user enters into text box, whether it matches the sentence that is in the text box above. So to do that, I'm going to create some functions or methods. I'm gonna create I'm gonna create 3 of them. I'm gonna create private void display stats. This is going to display the final statistics once they are being collected at the end. I'm going to create another one that actually does the check-in of the sentences, of it comparing. So it's gonna be private void, I'll call it check accuracy. Actually, no, what, make it 3. I'm gonna create 1 because after we type all the sentences available, we can start over again, so we need to reset the form. So I like to do it in its own method. So it's gonna be private void reset form. All right, so now when we compare the sentences, remember we have an array of pangrams that contains the sentences from the text file. So we have our mistakes. So I was thinking that rather than have it as an integer, we will do a corresponding array that matches the number of indexes of the pangrams. Basically, the index 0 of mistakes will capture the mistakes the user made with the panagram on the index 0, and mistakes with the index 1 will match the panagrams 1. So I'm coming over here and make this an array, and I'm going over here. I'll delete the mistakes equals 0, and instead I will do private integer. I already have private integer, sorry, I mean mistakes. I'm going to have to initialize the array. It's an array of integers. It simply counts the number of mistakes a user makes for each panagram. So the number of indexes inside will be the same as the panagrams dot count has. So now it has the same number of elements as the panagram, so they'll be corresponding. Like I said, index 0 matches index 0 of panagrams, index 1 matches index 1 of panagrams. Alright, so that's the first change I had to make. And alright, let's do the coding. So let's check the accuracy first. How do we check it? Well, we have the array of mistakes. So first thing that we can capture, let me show you what I mean, is the number of mistakes user makes right away. So for example, when I press start, the sentence here has certain number of characters. So if I type something, so obviously, and press enter, which means that I'm submitting what I wrote, you can see obviously that this one has way less characters. So whatever is missing, all the characters that are missing, can be counted, each of them, as one mistake. So or vice versa, if I write too many, so I can see that I have like 1, 2, or few characters, I don't know, 6 or so more, which means that I already made 6 mistakes. Even if this was all correct, even if if this was exactly typed as the sentence supposed to be, all the extra characters would be a mistake. They're not in our sample. So I'm gonna create, so I'm gonna count those first. So if I go to my check accuracy, I'll do the mistakes, and if you remember, we have the pangram counter, so which in this which counts the pangram number we are on currently. So in the first one would be 0, second one would be 1, and so forth. And how do I count the mistakes? Well, it's a difference of whatever is the text phrase dot text length minus text right dot text length. So it's the difference between the length of these two text boxes. However, imagine if this one was shorter. Let's say this one had 20 characters and I write 22 characters, so I would get -2. So in order to check like whether this one's longer than this, or do this, or otherwise do something else, we can use a very easy fix. We can use it's not even a fix, it's just a little neat thing how to calculate the difference in length without doing any comparison. We can do the absolute, the ABS, which is return the absolute value of decimal number. So the absolute number of this. So if it's -2, it will just convert it to +2, and if it's +2, it will remain +2, because obviously the absolute value is positive. So this will give us the difference between the characters that we wrote and the characters that we were supposed to write. So that's the first thing. Second, now we can well, we can create we need to compare each of the characters one at a time. However, if I just write for loop for that, I could get out of bounds depending on which one would be, if the length of these two text boxes or the number of characters is not the same, I could get out of bounds. So I have to loop only as many times as the shorter text box is, or what the length of the shorter text box is. So again, let me just show you. If I so if this sentence has this many characters and I'll write this is the number of iterations I need to make, because if I try to make this many iterations for each character, it would bounce, because there is no more once it reaches the last D in the shorter version, it would bounce, get out of bounds. So we need to find out which one is shorter. If they're the same, perfect. If one of them is shorter than the other, we need to make sure we are only looping through the shorter one. So I will create an integer loop counter, and I'm going to create a conditional statement. It's not a typical if statement, but a ternary operator, so-called. So I will simply do, is the text phrase dot text length greater than text right dot text length. basically I'm asking a question. Is it greater? Well, if it is, then use the shorter one, which would be the text to right. Otherwise, use the text phrase dot text length, which I forgot, text right dot text length. So if this one is has more characters than this one, then use the text right length. Otherwise, use the text phrase length. If they're the same, remember this is just asking if it's greater. So if it's the same, it doesn't matter which one you use. You can use this one or this one, so it will return one of them. So well, it will not return one of them. It will return this one, because if it's equal, it's not less, or in other words, this one is not greater if it's equal. So, but again, if they're equal, we don't care which one we use. We simply take, in this case, this one, and use that as our loop counter. So we can now do the loop for integer I equals 0. I is less than the loop counter, and I plus plus. And now we'll simply compare the characters. So if the text phrase dot text dot, and now we're doing the substring, we're taking one character, which one? Or the one that is in the index of I, and we only taking one. So you can see that in the IntelliSense, it gives us the option to just start from I in this case, and the length, how many characters we want. We just want one at a time. So if this substring is not the same as the what we wrote substring, so it's the dot text dot substring, and it's the same thing, I and 1. If those, because they're positioned at the same place, like substring 0 in our phrase needs to match the substring 0 in our right, and again substring 1 in our phrase needs to match the substring 1 in our right. But if they don't, we have a mistake. So we can do mistake, the pangram counter, and we will increase it by 1 plus equal 1. We start from 0, and we got it over here. We start we'll check the difference in length. If there's 0, it will be 0. We'll add 1. If there are any additional letters or we short, then we already have some initial mistakes, then we'll just keep adding to them, comparing each of the values. And this is all how you check accuracy. That's nothing really needed other than this. So now let's display the statistics. So we will do the list statistics, and we will simply add some items. So items, sorry, that add, and we can do something like your results, and on the new line we will output. Remember, our mistakes is a loop, so we need to go into a for loop and output each of the mistakes that we made. So for integer I equals 0 to I is less than the, well, we can do the mistakes count and I plus plus. So, and we will output, we will do the list statistics items that add, and we can do something like in the pangram number, and remember the numbers correspond with I, so it's gonna be, well, it's gonna be I plus 1, because I starts from 0, and we want panagram 1, then panagram 2, panagram, we don't want panagram 0. So in the panagram 1, and we can add to it something like you made how many mistakes, so plus mistakes of I, the index of I, and we can spell it out, mistakes. So it will simply say in the panagram number, let's say 1, you made how many mistakes. And this is how we display the statistics. Now, what do I have here? Oh, the reset form. Yeah, we need to reset the form from time to time. So at the end, we can do, once we're done with all our panagrams, we can reset the panagram counter to 0. We can do the we can clear the text boxes, both of the write and clear, write and phrase, and clear. And also, I don't want them enabled, because once I'm done, I want both of these disabled, and after I click start button again, then we will enable them again. I don't want the user to continue typing without clicking the start button. So I will do also text phrase dot enabled equals false. In other words, I disable it, and the same with the write dot enabled equals false. And I think that might be enough for the reset. We'll see later if that's all, or if we need something else. All right, so now we need to obviously call this method. We don't have any calls for the check accuracy or reset the forms or anything like that. So the accuracy, remember, when we press enter after we're done typing, the new sentence appears, and that's when we are going to capture the mistakes that we made for that particular sentence. So in other words, enter key is the key that will call the check accuracy. So when I come to my form on key pressed, in our if statement here, I have else statement, and the first thing that I'll do once I press the enter, I will check the accuracy. And I can prepare the text box for the next sentence. So I will do a write text box, which is gonna be cleared. And over here I will also increase the panagram counter, because I'm going to the next sentence. So I want the panagram counters is the one, the counter that counts what sentence we are going to display and type. So and then we call the start typing. But start typing, I think I'll change that a little bit. Yeah, I'm not gonna use the panagram counter here again anymore, because I'm using it after I press the enter key. So over here, if this is and I'm not gonna increase it here either. I'm sorry, when I reset the form, that's when the panagram counter is gonna be 0. When I press enter, that's when the panagram counter is gonna be increased. So I don't need to increase it here, and I don't need to reset it here. So I'll just use and the same with clear. That's again in the reset form method. So this is gonna be our start typing. It simply checks what the counter is, and if there's another sentence ready, we'll display it. If it's not, then we'll display, hey, this is the end of the panagrams. Now we will reset the form. So that will call the if you remember, that will call the panagram counter equals 0, and it will clear the text boxes and disable them. And when we are at the end, we will call the display stats method, because at the end, with the last sentence displayed and typed, we want to display the statistics. All right, so let's run it. Let's see what we get. All right, so when I press start, but I have to change that. I'll show you. If when we start the program, I don't want this actually enabled until I click the start, so I have to disable it on the load of the form and only enable it once the start is pressed. So we have the first sentence. So end of pangrams. These are disabled now, and here is our result. I made 37, 48, and 43 mistakes. So now when I press start, oh, I don't have this enabled yet because I reset the form, but I never enabled it. So when I press start, we have to, when we go to the button start click on the top, I will do the text phrase enabled now equals true because I want it enabled, and the same with the text right dot enabled equals true. And I want to clear the statistics because obviously now we have another round, so to speak. So we will clear the list box, and in our form load, like I said, I want to call the reset form because when the form load, I don't want the text box enabled. I want them disabled until I press the start button. So let me run it. Okay, so it's disabled. If I press enter, nothing's happening, so that's fine. I need to press start button, and let me just type it 5 boxing wizards jump quickly period. So this one should not have any mistakes. If I press enter, here's the other one. Brownie got just flocked up to quiz and wax him, but I'll add a character. I'll add another, let's say A. So that should be actually a mistake because that's one extra character. So that this one should have one error, and the last one, the quick brown, and I will misspell fox. I will just do AAA. Oh, I made a mistake again. So it's a over a lazy dog. So this one should have 1, 2, 3, I think 4. So if I press enter, end of pangrams, and it is, yeah, we got a 0 mistake, the first one, 1 on the second, and 4 with the third one. The second one, the one mistake was the extra character, and the third one has just 4 mistyped letters. And you can see now it's all grayed out. When I press start, I'm ready to type again. This is cleared. So yep, there you have it. I think this is a working app. So all right, I hope it was helpful, and if you like the video, please click the like. Don't forget to share with your classmates and friends if you know, they're interested in C# programming, and leave a comment, and I'll see you next video. Take care.